Hi, my name is Melissa van Dijk, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use the Ordinary Lactic Acid, Niacinamide and Alpha-Arbutin in one routine, which is actually a great combination, and it also can help you with hydration, also with an uneven skin tone or hyperpigmentation, as well as enlarged pores. Now, if those are your skin concerns, then this is also the right combination for you. And I'm also going to show you step by step on my face how you can also apply it, as well as share some tips and tricks along the way and some additional informations depending also on the product we're currently using, so that you also will experience the best application possible and also know how to use the different products. Now, before we're getting started with those 3 serums, it's also important to start off with step number 1, which is also washing your face with a gentle and suitable cleanser for your skin type. Now, please keep in mind, we're already using lactic acid, which is an hydroxy acid, like an AHA, that exfoliates the skin. I really recommend going also with a gentle and suitable cleanser for your skin type that doesn't include any hydroxy acids, such as lactic acid, glycolic acid or salicylic acid, which is really important, especially if you're new to acids, so that you're not going to irritate the skin too much and getting used to the acids. So this is also why I like to also go with the Ordinary Squalane Cleanser, which is gentle, it's neutral, it's also suitable for all skin types. If you have a different one at home, please also make sure to read the directions on how you should use it. Now, with this one I have to use a small amount and then also massage it onto my dry skin and then rinse it with water. So, and after you have massaged your cleanser into the skin, you now can also go ahead and remove it either the dry way with cotton pads, if this is also what you have to do with your cleanser, or also rinse it with water. Now, if you also can rinse it with water, I recommend also using a fresh cloth in between, just if you want to, of course, which you're going to wet, and this can also help you to remove the cleanser a bit better, especially also if you're using it on your neck area. But this is of course personal preference, but I just want to mention it just in case. So, and now you can go ahead and use a fresh towel and pat the skin dry. So, and now you have also cleansed the face, you're ready for the application. Now, what's really important is after you've pat the skin dry, you can also immediately move on to the next product application. And I'm also going to share some additional tips right now, especially when it comes to now the second step, which can be already lactic acid. But in case you want to use a toner, you also may want to use this one before you're going to apply lactic acid. So I just want to include it in case you have one at home. When also using it in this specific routine and you also want to target mostly hyperpigmentation on uneven tone, I recommend going with a toner that's soothing, that's really calming, also adds hydration to the skin, as well as has also antioxidants in it, or also depigmenting ingredients in it, so that it also can give you another boost on how you can also fight a hyperpigmentation. Of course, if you are happy with the ones that you're already using that can also help you with hyperpigmentation, you can also just go ahead and use a very hydrating and also refreshing, soothing toner. That's also, for example, the one that I'm going to use from Paula's Choice. I mainly want to also mention the toner, since I know that it can be quite confusing, as the Ordinary has also a toning solution which also contains 7% of glycolic acid in it. Please, when using lactic acid, do not use the glycolic acid toning solution in the same routine. It's like you would double exfoliate the skin, as it still exfoliates the skin. And then it also can be quite irritating depending on your skin tolerance, of course. So if you're new to acids, I recommend using a very gentle cleanser. Use also a gentle toner if you want to include one, and then move on to lactic acid. Now I'm going to use the one from Paula's Choice, giving it a little shake. And then also using a fresh cotton pad, where I'm going to apply the toning solution on it, and then gently swipe it across my face and neck area. So now you have cleansed the face, you have also applied your toner as your second step. If you don't have a toner at home, you don't want to use one, that's totally fine. Skip the toner step and then move directly onto lactic acid after you have also washed your face and pat the skin dry. So when it comes to lactic acid, the Ordinary has 2 lactic acids, one with 5% as well as one with 10%. If you're new to acids, I recommend going with the one with 5% as it's a bit gentler and you're also able to get your skin used to it. If you're already a little bit more advanced, you have already tried lactic acid before or glycolic acid, you may then also want to go for the lactic acid with 10%. This depends on if you're experienced with acids or if you're new to acids. Now I'm going to use the one with 5%. Now lactic acid is great as it's also going to help with hydration. It adds hydration to the skin. It also exfoliates at the same time and also reduces the look of like blemishes as well as dark spots, hyperpigmentation issues and also fine lines and wrinkles. So this is actually a great combination, including lactic acid in this routine while also using niacinamide and alpha-arbutin as well. Now I want to be very clear. And I'm going to use the 3 serums once together so that I can give you an example. Those 3 serums are actually, yeah, they call it serums, but those are 3 water-based serums. So in general, it's recommended to use no more than 3 serums in one routine so that you also have the best like skin penetration, so that the ingredients also can work for the skin and that your skin doesn't feel overwhelmed. So since lactic acid is also an exfoliator, it still is considered to be a water-based serum. So this is why when using those 3 together, I wouldn't recommend using another serum as well, as this may be too much for the skin. Now it's also recommended that usually with 3 water-based serums, or if you have more than 1 water-based serum, you can also apply them depending on the priority of your skin. Like the skin concern that you want to target the most is the one that you should use at first and then use the other ones afterwards. However, since lactic acid is also an exfoliator, I recommend starting off with lactic acid and then move on to the other 2, which I will get in a minute. So with lactic acid, usually with the serums I recommend using 1 to 3 drops for the entire face and neck area. However, this one is very water-like. And this is also where I recommend that you can also use a few drops more. Just make sure that it's not too much and that you still can also evenly apply it all over your face and neck area. And it's a leave-on exfoliator, so there's no need to wash it off. I'm going to use 3 drops. And the way that you're going to apply it is totally up to you. I like to use it in the palm of my hand, then rub them together and also gently pat it onto the skin. If you prefer to use your fingertips for it, that's fine too. Or if you prefer to use directly a few drops onto your face, then that's fine too, and then blend it into the skin. See what works the best for you. There's no right and wrong on how you're going to apply it. Just make sure that you're not getting the lactic acid into your eyes. That's all what I want to mention. And again, you're going to leave it on the skin. So, in case you're not using a toner, use a gentle cleanser, skip the toner part and move on directly onto lactic acid. Now I also want to mention one thing, which you can also see right here. I have a few like little breakouts right here, which are already in the healing process. So this is where it's fine to use it all over the face. You can also use it on acne areas that are closed. As long as they aren't popped, you can also apply it, or if they're already in the healing process. But if they are open, I recommend avoiding those areas. Otherwise it can sting and burn like crazy. I know from what I'm talking about because it happened to me as well. And I noticed that this was always the case when the pimple was just freshly popped and it's open, then it burns like crazy. But if it's still closed or it's in a healing process, as you can see right here, you're fine to use it over it. That's totally fine. And you can do this with any serum or acid. So after lactic acid, which you're going to leave on the skin, we now can move on to the next water-based serums, which is niacinamide and alpha-arbutin. Now the way that you're going to apply them is depends on your skin concern. The one that targets the most important concern is the one that should go first. However, I want to mention that with both serums, you can also use them only on certain areas. They do not need to be applied all over the face. You can also just use them for spot treatment. And I'm going to start off with alpha-arbutin, as I want to give you the example with alpha-arbutin on how you can use it as a spot treatment, as not everyone has the same hyperpigmentation and dark spots issues. They may be also only on a specific area, but not always all over the face. If you have hyperpigmentation going on over the entire face, of course, go ahead, use it over the entire face. However, if you have, for example, hyperpigmentation going on your cheek, then you also want to be specific with your cheek area. And for me, as I'm currently using alpha-arbutin myself, I like to use it to treat those two spots. Those are spots which came through pimples. Those were pimples. They healed, but they left a dark mark, like a dark acne spot, or how you would call it. And so the way that I'm treating them to make them disappear, and I can already see great improvements with it, they are already lighter, I basically use alpha-arbutin for it. So for spot treatment, I recommend using a small amount, only what's needed. For this specific area, I'm using 1 drop between my finger and just use it on 1 finger so that I'm not going to apply too much. Like this. And if you have a specific area which has hyperpigmentation going on or darker spots, you can use it and only use a small amount on those specific spots. You don't have to use it all over the face. If you want to use it all over the face, I recommend using between 1 to 3 drops and then use the method that works the best for you to apply it all over your face. Now I'm going to show you how you can also use it all over the face with niacinamide so that you've seen both ways. Now with niacinamide, which also helps to regulate the oil production as well as minimizes the pores and also give you a little bit more of an evener skin tone, it can be used all over the face or only on a specific area, as I just demonstrated with alpha-arbutin. Now if you're going to use it all over the face, again I recommend using between 1 to 3 drops. The way that you're going to apply it is up to you. And again, with niacinamide, as well as with the other serums, if you have open pimples or acne that just popped, please do not use it on those specific areas as it's going to burn, which happened to me actually with niacinamide. So every time I'm using it, I'm going to avoid it, or I'm waiting until the pimples are healed, or I'm not popping them at all. Then it's fine, then it doesn't burn. So, and after you have applied niacinamide or alpha-arbutin as your last step, this depends on your preference, then that's basically it. Now, I just wanted to share an additional information, and this is also if you want to enhance the brightness of your skin tone, as well as if you're basically battling with hyperpigmentation, you could go ahead and also use as your last step basically the ordinary magnesium ascorbyl phosphate. This is a vitamin C derivative, which you can also use in the same routine than niacinamide. However, since this one is empty, I can't use it, and it's also currently out of stock, I recommend that if you really want to target those concerns, you're going to wait until it's back in stock and then use it as your last step and apply it all over your face and neck area. This one is a great option. There's no alternative to it since we're already using 3 water-based serums, so I recommend that using a vitamin C is great in this routine as well. Just make sure that it's a vitamin C derivative, not a pure form or ethylated form of vitamin C, since this is what the Ordinary recommends when using niacinamide. And make sure that it's basically in a suspension like this one, or also in a moisturizer. Now, since this one isn't available anymore and you still feel the need to also use a moisturizer afterwards, you can do so. You can also go ahead, use your moisturizer that you have at home, use a pea-sized amount of it, if you feel the need. And then apply it only on specific areas where you can feel the dryness, or all over your face, depending also on your skin needs and how your skin feels in general. Then you could also go ahead and use your moisturizer as your last step. So, and then again you're going to leave it on the skin, there's no need to wash it off. So, since we also used lactic acid in our routine, I always recommend that when being exposed to the sun, please also don't forget your sunscreen as your last step, since lactic acid exfoliates the skin. It can also make the skin sensitive to the sun, so sun protection when being exposed to the sun is also really important. Now, I just want to mention that some people have already asked me with lactic acid, like, how often should I use it? Well, this depends on you. This depends on your skin tolerance. I can use it daily, but you maybe want to use it only a few times per week. This depends on how your skin is going to react. If you're new to acids, I recommend to start off slowly. So using it 2 to 3 times per week. See how your skin can also tolerate it. If you can also tolerate more often, you can also go ahead and go to an extent until you can also use it daily. But if you feel that your skin feels irritated when using it daily, I recommend reducing it and only using it a few times per week so that it feels good on the skin. You know your skin the best. If it feels irritated, reduce the amount and also how often you're going to use it. If you feel like you can take it more often, then go ahead and use it also more often. Now, this could be an AM or PM skincare routine. This depends on you. It's recommended to use lactic acid in the evening since it can make the skin sensitive to the sun. However, if you're going to protect it really well with a sunscreen, you could also go ahead and use it in the morning. And how often you can exfoliate the skin depends on your skin tolerance. You have to see and try it out, see what works the best, as something that may work for me doesn't work for you, so you have to see it for yourself. You know your skin the best. And this is really what I wanted to recommend also when using lactic acid. Now, I also do hope that you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget also, when you're not using lactic acid, you still can use niacinamide and alpha-arbutin on a daily basis. You can also use it either once or twice daily. That's totally up to you. Now, this is basically what I wanted to share with you. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well as share it. And yeah, I will see you soon in the next one. Bye!